Good morning. Well, as you see, I've been collecting up some soil. Look at that. If there's one thing being an allotment holder does, it makes you a scrounger, or maybe you're just resourceful. We have found this lovely topsoil just all down the edges of the curb on the little road that leads up to the allotments. It's mainly just leaf litter, I think, rotted down after all the years. So we've been going down there over the last couple of weeks and just collecting it up and bringing it back up here. We're always on the lookout for topsoil and compost going for free, so this was a great find for us. We've managed to really top up a lot of the borders. A lot of them were sinking right down because I started them off using the, I always say Google culture, Hugel culture. We started them off using the Hugel culture method, and because of the wood and everything that we put under there, it's now started to rot down. A lot of the borders sank a lot this last year, so we've had to find a lot of other sources of topsoil and compost to put on there. We've made a lot of compost. We try not to buy anything really for the allotment. I don't board very little, but this is a really good find, and I'm going to just use this to top up one of the borders that still needs a little bit more. We're nearly there, to be honest. Still got quite a lot of compost in the compost bin to use as well. So I'll just spread this all out when I take the kale out. I've just left the kale in, it's been in all winter. We aren't really eating it, to be honest. I found as a family, I can't talk them into eating kale, I just can't. And I can't even really talk myself into liking it that much. However, the hens like it. So I've just left it in as a little bit of winter greens for them. I'll probably take some home today. And when I come to plant this border, I'll pull all those out and spread this lovely topsoil out again. But the kale's done really well. I mean, we've had all that snow and ice. It's been bitterly cold a lot of the time, and it's thriving really. Very hardy plant. I planted this border with broad beans back in October. Now, I do seem to have had somewhat of a brainstorm while I was doing it. I don't know what on earth I was thinking, but I've got them planted so closely together that it's ridiculous. Anyway, I realised my mistake when they started to come up, and I've just left them all winter because I thought that some of them would get taken by pests and some of them you know, would not survive the cold and what have you, which is true, a lot of them haven't. I'm going to just weed that out now and get them spaced properly. They should, each seed should be about a foot apart. One thing I did do with this border, just as a little test, was I planted 2 different varieties of seeds. I had a packet of unwin seeds for the first double row and a packet of Wilkinson seeds for the second row. The unwin seeds, although they were probably double the price of the Wilkinson's ones, didn't seem very good quality to me. They looked old and shriveled, whereas the Wilkinson's ones look nice and healthy and new. However, once they've grown up, there really isn't that much of a difference. If I had to call it, I would say the Wilkinson's ones are slightly better. There's less of them died off, and they maybe look a little bit healthier as plants, but really not much in it at all. So that's quite interesting to know, isn't it? If you're going to pay a lot for your seeds, is it really worth it when you can get them at Wilkinson's for a fraction of the price? And they're certainly not worse. So I'm just going to start and thin this border out now. I'll try and set them about a foot apart, and take out the weaker ones if I can. There we go. That looks a lot more sensible now, doesn't it? Now for me, one of the main downsides to my allotment is that it's a pretty small allotment as allotments go. I just find I haven't got enough room for everything that I want to do. So I did try last year without a great deal of success, but what I really want to try and do is use each border twice, or use as many borders as I can twice, having an early crop and a late crop. So for this broad bean border, which I've just been thinning out, Kenny read from this gardener who he gets emails of that you can actually plant your main crop potatoes in amongst your broad beans. They don't compete for nutrients apparently, and by the time your main crop are ready to be harvested, your broad beans are finished. So it's an ideal way to make double use of that border, even at the same time this is. So I'm going to try that this year. I was really happy about it when I heard about it, because the potatoes take up a lot of space for quite a long time, and so do the broad beans really. So that's a huge big border I've got there, one of my biggest borders that I'm going to be making double use of. So I'll take you with us on that little journey and let you know how it goes. I've got some pink fir apples to put in there and Mayan gold. I don't suppose I'll get them both in, I'm not sure, we'll have to see. And you just plant the potatoes in between the rows, and if you need to earth them up, apparently the broad beans don't mind that. These are my onions and garlic and shallots, which I planted in the autumn. They're all doing fine. The whole border seems to be doing quite well. I've got a bit of chard in there. Chard is apparently biennial. So I did plant this last year, and I planted it late on in the year, and we got a little bit out of it, but it didn't come to a great deal. So I'm going to leave it in. Well, I have left it in. And hopefully that'll get off to a really fast start in the spring, give us some green leaves. And at the back I've got more broad beans actually popped in there. So my plan is, once all of these onions and garlic are ready and have been harvested, which I would think about July, I'm hoping, after that I'm going to reuse this border. I'm going to put in, this is the plan at the minute, I'm not saying that can't change, I'm going to put in my New Zealand yams. You might have seen last year we grew them. They're a favourite in our family. I haven't heard of anybody else growing them. They're just a nice small tuber, quite sweet, lemony and nutty, that you can eat raw. We usually roast them and just use them instead of potatoes or chips, and they're very nice. They are late in harvest, and we didn't harvest them until December anyway. You have to wait until 3 weeks after the frost has knocked them right back, and they can grow on quite happily in pots for a long time. So that's what I'm going to do. Later in the spring I'll pot them up. I'll probably use quite big pots, you know, maybe that size, and just let them grow on in the pots until all this border's free, and then I'm going to put them in here, and that gives them plenty of room, because the Japanese, I always call them Japanese, the New Zealand yam, the top of the plant grows very spreading by the end of its lifespan, so it's got plenty of room in here to do that. So that's 2 borders plus the one in the back garden that I figured out how to use twice in the year, or for 2 different crops. Any ideas, anybody else, what else I can do? Well, that's me made a little start for today. Beginning of March, not bad. I'm out yet. It's chilly, a bit foggy. It's not the best, but at least we've made a start. Lots more to come, as you know. All right, folks, thank you for joining me at the beginning of the year in the allotment, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.